Live from KSAT 12. The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
San Antonio Metro Health investigating 2 COVID-19 cases in which people have tested positive after receiving the vaccine. We're speaking directly with Metro Health Assistant Director Dr. Anita Curian about those cases and the effort to get our community vaccinated in our KSAT Q&A coming up at 6:30.
But first at 6, the first step in the journey to get Bexar County courts operating again.
This after a 1-year shutdown because of the pandemic, but come Monday, in-person hearings will be allowed.
Here's our Paul Venema with what to expect next.
Jury trials like this are right around the corner, while in-person hearings will start here on Monday.
As we ramp up, for me, the idea is at least we're getting started.
Getting started after the courts went dark here over a year ago as the pandemic began to spread. Virtual hearings via Zoom soon became the only way courtroom business was conducted, until Monday when in-person hearings will begin.
Each floor is only going to have no more than 2 courts on the entire floor of the courthouse and the Justice Center to have in-person hearings.
All safety protocols, masks, social distancing, and so forth will remain in place. Same thing for jury trials that are expected to begin in 6 weeks to 2 months.
We're going to begin with 1 criminal felony jury trial per day only in the central jury room, 1 civil jury trial per day only in the old historic courtroom.
It's going to be a real slow process. How is this even going to address the backlog?
It is going to be a slow startup, and the purpose of that is because we don't know exactly what is around the corner. We want to make sure that once we start, that we continue to proceed.
To proceed on a journey, he said, that has lasted longer than anyone had expected. Paul Venema, KSAT 12 News.
And new at 6, U.S. Border Patrol announcing today they are opening up a temporary processing facility in Eagle Pass. Check out this photos of the facility. Officials say it's a 90,000 square feet, looks like a tent, which is also weatherproof and climate controlled. Areas for the migrants to eat, sleep, and keep up their personal hygiene. The goal of the new facility is to add more capacity for the Del Rio Sector Central Processing Center located in the same area.
New information tonight, the need for volunteers at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall where migrant teens are temporarily being housed is increasing. Catholic Charities now says it will need volunteers 24 hours a day. The new 8-hour shifts will be from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3 to 11 p.m., and from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. The first busload with 500 teenage boys from the border arrived Monday night. However, that number has doubled in less than a week. This has caused Catholic Charities to change their volunteer hours. But if you can't do 8 hours, they still say your help is needed. A San Antonio mother says for her, volunteering has been eye-opening and rewarding, but still emotional.
My heart breaks for the moms that have their children here. My heart breaks for the children that are having to go through this.
Given the continued spikes at the border, Catholic Charities says it will need volunteers over the next several weeks. Again, 24 hours a day until further notice. We have the latest volunteer information on our website at ksat.com.
We now have the identity of the man killed in a motorcycle crash. We first told you about the story yesterday at 6. The medical examiner's office identifying the victim as 31-year-old Charlie Valdez. Police say Valdez lost control while driving on Northampton Drive near I-10 on the north side. He hit a couple mailboxes before eventually driving head-on into a house. Police say Valdez died at the scene. Police believe speed was a factor in the crash.
Meantime, the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office still working to identify a man who died after being hit by a car this morning. This happened on South Loop 1604 near Campbellton Road in South Bexar County. Our Stephen Cavazos shows us how this scene unfolded and the efforts to try to save that man's life.
It was just before 7 Friday morning, this quiet stretch of road turned into a scene for Bexar County deputies and San Antonio police and a long investigation. According to a BCSO spokesman, a man was walking on Loop 1604 West near Campbellton Road when he was hit by a vehicle. The driver stopped to help. Soon after, first responders, including AirLife, arrived here in an attempt to save his life. Our photojournalist captured those harrowing moments, but instead the man was placed in an ambulance. BCSO later confirmed he didn't make it, but the investigation didn't slow down. For over 2 hours, San Antonio police and Bexar County deputies have been rerouting traffic from the westbound lanes of 1604 here onto the eastbound lanes as investigators comb through this area, searching for answers where that person was found. BCSO tells us the driver is not facing any charges, and at this time, the man's name has not been released. Stephen Cavazos, KSAT 12 News.
The Red Cross assisting several people after their apartments were damaged by a fire this morning. The fire broke out just before 10 a.m. in the 800 block of Flame Circle. That's really the name of the street. Fire officials say the blaze began in the kitchen of a unit on the first floor. It then spread up the walls into the attic onto the second floor. One person checked out at the scene by EMS. Fire officials say 8 units were damaged.
3 people are hospitalized following a motorcycle crash and a vehicle rollover this morning on the northeast side. San Antonio police say that crash happened around 2 a.m. on I-35 near Starlight Terrace and Weidner Road. Police say a couple on a motorcycle wrecked after being rear-ended. Then a driver in a white truck tried to help them. They didn't see a Mazda in the way and they collided, causing the Mazda to roll over and into the access road. Police say the motorcyclists and the driver of the truck were all taken to BAMC with minor injuries.
When the city of San Antonio announced that they would be hosting the entire women's NCAA tournament, businesses knew they had one chance to make a good impression. From the hotels to the airport to local restaurants, it was a group effort to put on the tournament without incident. And as many teams left the Alamo City today, local business owners reflecting on their 2 weeks here, comparing it to working together as a family.
Whether it's the city employees or FBOs or our grant handlers, we're all in this together. We all understand that all of us makes the city look good or all of us makes the city look bad. And we're here together to make sure that we work as a cohesive unit.
The big dance not quite over yet, though. Final 4 games begin tonight. The women's championship game being played this Easter Sunday at the Alamo Dome. Be sure to watch instant replay for all the highlights.
Every year, mammograms save lives by detecting cancer at earlier, more treatable stages. And the COVID vaccine can save lives too. But if you got a vaccine, there's a side effect that can put those two at odds. Ursula Perry with what you'll want to know before you schedule your next mammogram.
During a mammogram, technicians image not only the breast, but also the area near the underarm. Right now, some women who have had the COVID vaccine are having an unexpected reaction.
Not everyone, but some patients we will see enlarged or swollen lymph nodes on the mammograms.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control reporting that 11% of COVID vaccine recipients have swollen lymph nodes after the first dose, and then 16% have swelling after the second. The swelling starts about 2 or 3 days after the vaccine. That's why doctors say it's important for women to tell their providers if they have recently had a vaccine, which arm it was in, and if it was the first or the second dose.
This gives us information to help us read the mammogram. Other things such as cancer can cause swollen lymph nodes. So that's why we want to know the vaccine history.
Doctors say the swelling should go away in 4 to 6 weeks, and it's just the body's normal response to the vaccine.
If the lymph nodes have not decreased in size in about 2 months, then it would be time to get it checked out, to come and have an ultrasound and make sure that there's nothing else going on.
This can all be just a bit tricky. Sometimes the reaction happens with the Moderna vaccine. Sometimes it happens with the Pfizer vaccine. Sometimes the patient can't feel anything, but it's picked up on the mammogram. Other times it's up to the mammogram technician to find it. Ursula Perry, KSAT 12 News.
If you're planning to build that backyard deck or even a brand new house, expect the lumber to cost you. Since the pandemic began, the price of lumber soaring, nearly tripling in some cases. Another case of the pandemic affecting supply and demand as mills cut back and even shut down. Demand for home improvement and other construction surged. Sometimes those costs can be passed along to the customer, but as one builder told us, when they sign a contract, that often locks in the price.
Well, if we don't start that house for 60 days later, by then lumber could have gone up thousands of dollars. So when you ask the question, do we pass that along or do we eat it? Well, we eat it.
And it's not just home builders, those who build fences, decks, most any construction dealing with the volatile prices.
New today, 230 boxes of Girl Scout cookies are heading overseas after being packed up today. They make up both donated and leftover cookies from the Girl Scout fundraiser. The girls say leftover cookies are always donated to organizations or to the military. However, these particular cookies are going to Marines stationed at various U.S. embassies, and here's why.
This year we found out, like when you donate to the military, that doesn't include the embassies. And I love cookies, you love cookies, everyone loves cookies, everyone deserves cookies. So we found that out through our troop leader who has a friend there, and we decided to donate cookies to them today.
Everyone deserves cookies, especially these recipients.
That's right.
Each shipment includes letters from the Girl Scouts explaining why the Marines were selected for the cookies, along with thanking them for their service.
Take a look with live cam tonight. 74 degrees out there. This is a pretty nice day, Adam.
Yeah, fantastic day. Beautiful outside. A little bit of a breeze out of the southeast, but our humidity has not really jumped up at all. Actually, it's very dry outside, all things considered. The aquifer took a big hit today, down 0.7 of a foot. We're now more than 11 feet below the April average. And a lot of us are feeling this. Oak, no surprise here. It's high today at 3,500. Mold, juniper, mulberry, hackberry, all on the low end. Speaking of lows, early this morning, below average at 50 degrees, and our high temperature of 75 was a little below average as well. Burning now at 68, Lost Maple 67, 72 Randolph, and 73 in Hondo. Tomorrow morning, most of us down in the low 50s to start your Saturday, but the clouds are going to tease us a bit this weekend. We'll have some dampness. We're going to talk about that and if this comfortable weather is going to stick around coming up.
Thank you, Adam. Around Texas, a Houston neighborhood known for having wild peacocks roaming the area. Well, neighbors are looking for answers tonight after a peacock was found dead. Take a look. Residents in the area say in recent weeks they've seen people in trucks and vans trying to take the exotic birds. One person says they even saw someone try to use a lasso to snag a peacock. The photos of the dead bird were posted to Facebook. Residents believe that bird may have been scalped.
It had not been hit, it had not been harmed. It was a clean knife cut. People are really upset about it, so it needs to stop. It's animal cruelty.
The resident says it's up to them to get justice for the peacock because they are not protected by federal law.
Day 5 of the Derek Chauvin trial. See how prosecutors are building their case as they question Chauvin's fellow officers on whether he used excessive force.
The race to vaccinate continues. How a new FDA policy could get you your shot sooner.
An important milestone in the race to vaccinate. The CDC reports that over 100 million adults have at least one dose of the COVID vaccine.
This comes as the CDC changes its guidelines for vaccinated travelers, now saying they are low risk. However, COVID cases are up 17% nationwide in the past 2 weeks.
And President Joe Biden reminding Americans the pandemic isn't over yet.
Too many Americans are acting as if this fight is over. It is not.
And now COVID hospital admissions are also climbing in 20 states. The U.S. averaging about 5,000 new hospitalizations per day. With most older Americans vaccinated, many of those hospitalized are from younger age groups.
30 to 50-year-olds in particular, who have not, for the most part, been able to get vaccinated yet, are more at risk, and we're seeing them in the hospital.
And a new development in vaccine distribution may help alleviate that increase. The FDA authorized Moderna to put 50% more doses of its vaccine in each vial, a move that should boost supply and speed up distribution.
Weather out there today, fantastic. Weather you wish we could take with us into the weekend, especially a holiday weekend.
Yes, the timing wasn't ideal for this. There's some changes coming this weekend, but it's not going to be a bad weekend. It's not going to really get in the way of too many plans. We'll have a little bit of dampness periodically, but not a whole lot of moisture to show for it. More of a tease from the clouds. That's what we're expecting, but comfortable temperatures. So let's get right to it. Take a look at our weather pattern. We have some clouds sliding overhead, but that's it. You look into Arizona and New Mexico, you see a little bit of precipitation there. And that's good because they could use it, and it's really one of the few, if not only, disturbances across the nation right now. This little dip in the upper level flow near Phoenix, that's our weekend system. That's the next upper level disturbance. It's going to slide overhead. very slowly Saturday and Sunday, but it's not really wound up. It's not a strong system. It's unorganized and it's a little disheveled, doesn't have a lot of moisture to work with either. It's not muggy outside, is it? You can't even feel the moisture out there. So it doesn't have a lot to work with either. But I do think it'll provide plenty of cloud cover and a little bit of dampness. And by Monday, it's out of here. So look at our rain chances. Again, don't get your hopes too high. We're looking at a 20 to 30% chance through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And that's mainly just in the form of light sprinkles and even some drizzles. So here's our futurecast, 6 a.m. Saturday morning, plenty of low clouds. Really could look like it will rain at any moment, but we'll just see a few hit or miss, very light showers or sprinkles on the radar screen. Same thing goes into the midday. Then by the afternoon, I do think we'll see the clouds break a little bit. We'll have some peaks of sunshine during Saturday afternoon. It's not going to boost our temperatures a whole lot. It'll still be right around the 70-degree mark. Then into Sunday, we do it all over again. A little bit of sprinkle activity to start Easter Sunday, some drizzle as well, so a little bit of dampness here and there as we go into the latter half of the weekend. So let's talk about temperatures, okay? Beautiful day today. 50 in the morning, 75 for the high temperature, both below average. But look at the record high, 98, set back in 1939. And across the state, 84 El Paso, that's the hot spot. 75 Alpine, 69 in Abilene. Get to Junction at 70, Cotulla 79, Carrizo Springs 77. This evening, really nothing to worry about. Temperatures are going to be comfortable. We'll be in the 60s. A bit of a breeze out of the southeast periodically up to about 5 to 15 miles per hour, but overall comfortable with low humidity. Increasing clouds overnight tonight. Those clouds will fill in, so tomorrow we'll start the day gray. A few sprinkles here and there, a little bit of dampness, but only a few hundredths of an inch. Then by the afternoon, right near 70 degrees for the high temperature, comfortable, and a few breaks in the clouds. Sunday, we do it all over again. 58 in the morning, near 70 in the afternoon. We'll have some drizzle, a few sprinkles, a southeasterly breeze at 5 to 15. Into next week, that's when the changes happen. I know we felt this comfortable lack of humidity lately. By Tuesday, humidity's back. Dew points are back into the 60s. You're going to feel the mugginess on Tuesday with temperatures well into the 80s then. And I think we'll be back up to the 90-degree mark by the middle of next week on Wednesday.
All right, so enjoy the 70s this weekend. Thanks, Adam.
All right, so the Valero Texas Open in full swing, so to speak, out at the TPC Resort, and new leader?
Yeah, a new leader in the second round, but Jordan Spieth making the charge here as we go into the weekend. When we come back, we'll show you who is the new leader, and also at the same time show you how Jordan made his late charge today out of the TPC Resort course, the JW Marriott, and UTSA welcomes a new basketball coach coming up. Second round of the Valero Texas Open here in San Antonio. We catch up with Phil Mickelson, who returns to the scene of the crime after carding a 10 on his final hole with his shot going into the creek more than once for a quintuple bogey. He almost gets an eagle with this approach. He settled for a birdie the same hole, his number 9 today, after Cameron Tringali birdied 5 in a row on the front 9. Jordan Spieth started his move, his putter saving him after missing most of the greens, but he began to find them back on the back 9 and nailed his approach shot at 15. Is setting up for another birdie, get him within 2 strokes of the leader at 7 under.
Whenever you go bogey free, whatever golf course it is, it's nice, but especially here, wind's picking up now, greens are firming up. I drove it nice for the most part of the day and felt comfortable, and I've been feeling comfortable about my game for a while now, just trying to hold a few more putts and keep the scoring going and making the right putts at the right time.
And when you take a look at the leaderboard, he joins Jordan Spieth at number 2, tied for second place at 7 under 137. After trailing most of the game last night on the second of back-to-backs, the Spurs fought back to not only force overtime, but a second overtime as well against the Hawks. Playing the third game in 4 nights, the Spurs would get back into contention after being down double digits. Derek White was a big part of that, having a career night with 29 points and 7 three-pointers to get the Spurs into contention. In fact, the Silver and Black would also go on a 9-3 run at the end of regulation that included DeMar DeRozan's shot that tied the game at 110 all. He would finish with 36. But Trae Young would score 28 points, 12 assists, including 15 points in the 2 overtime periods. And get this stat, Young would score or assist on each of the Hawks' last 34 points, the 134-129 double overtime victory.
They've shown a lot of grit and a lot of just, downright fiber of hanging in, playing tough. This is 3 and 4 nights, after what they've already gone through. So schedule-wise, so I'm happy that, they don't die.
They're still alive. That's good news. But they're back at it again tomorrow against Indiana at 8 p.m. Chris Beard has arrived on the 40 acres in Austin today. The Texas Longhorns introduced their new head basketball coach, the man who led Texas Tech to the championship game in 2019 and the Elite Eight in 2018. In just 5 seasons in Lubbock, will take over the Burnt Orange from here on out. That's after Shaka Smart saw the handwriting on the wall after losing his 3rd first-round game in the NCAA tournament. Decided to take the vacancy at Marquette.
Let me be really clear here. I understand the standards of the University of Texas. I understand where our men's basketball program is going to be and needs to be and deserves to be. Those expectations and standards don't scare me. Don't get it twisted. It's the reason that I'm here today, is the expectations and the standards and where this program needs to be and will be sooner than later.
There you go. Texas signed Beard to a 7-year, $35 million contract that works out to $5 million per year plus incentives. According to Horns 24/7, that adds 70% of that is guaranteed. While the Longhorns are introducing their new men's basketball coach, UTSA Roadrunners are introducing their new women's basketball coach. She is Karen Aston, and if the name sounds familiar, it should. She's a former head coach at Texas from 2012 to 2020, where she led the Longhorns to their first Elite Eight appearance since 2003, back in 2016. Now she's bringing her 13 seasons of experience as a head coach to the Roadrunners.
This is a building athletic program, and that it's on the rise, and it's a place that you can not only call home and call family, but you can also be a part of something that is going to be very, very special in the future. So it was really a no-brainer for me.
All right, the Final Four underway here in San Antonio for the women's tournament, and right now getting ready to start the 3rd quarter. Stanford is leading South Carolina 31-25. Later tonight is Arizona and Connecticut. We'll have those finals for you tonight on the Night Beat.
All right, thank you, Greg.
You got it.
Coming up, our KSAT Q&A. We're going to take your COVID questions directly to those in charge. Up next, speaking with Dr. Anita Kurian from Metro Health. Stay with us.
San Antonio Metro Health right now investigating 2 COVID-19 cases in which patients tested positive weeks after being fully vaccinated. So to talk about that and the ongoing effort to get our community vaccinated, Metro Health Assistant Director Dr. Anita Kurian joins us now for today's KSAT Q&A. Doctor, thanks for your time. Thanks for being here. Let's start with, what are those breakthrough cases? Tell us what you can about what we know about these patient situations.
So, to begin with, as with any vaccine, it's possible, it's quite possible that even people who are fully vaccinated can get infected with COVID. And that's what we refer to as breakthrough infections. So the 2 cases that we reported were breakthrough infections. These were individuals who contracted COVID-19 2 weeks after they're receiving their 2nd dose. But the investigation is still ongoing, so I can't speak much about the specifics of the case, but I just want to emphasize, however, that fully vaccinated individuals could have mild symptoms. They are less likely to have asymptomatic infections and potentially less likely to transmit the illness to others. So vaccinations is still an important tool for us to get back to normalcy. And bottom line is, the risk of COVID-19 infections, even in fully vaccinated people, cannot be eliminated so long as we have these transmissions of virus in the community. And we do. We are documenting on an average about 150 to 200 new cases in our community. And that is why it is very important for us to practice those preventive measures like consistent mask using or physical distancing. Even if you're fully vaccinated, just until we learn more about how these vaccines work in real world conditions.
Right. This pandemic is not over yet. I don't know that we can say that enough. You also talked yesterday about the fact that there are some young people that are somehow getting vaccines. And I would guess the real danger in that is because it hasn't been tested in young people, plus the fact that they're not eligible right now. So they're taking these shots away from people who are eligible. Is that correct?
That is correct. So most importantly, these vaccines are not FDA approved. They are under the emergency use authorization. that only covers 16 and older for Pfizer and 18 and older for Moderna. So if you are not vaccine eligible at this time, please do not provide inaccurate information, which could subsequently result in you inadvertently getting the vaccines that you're not currently eligible.
We know that eligibility increased at the beginning of the week to now all adults in Texas being eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. And there has been such a desire from so many people we have heard from just to get help getting an appointment. And I know the city is taking on what it's calling a pilot program as a registry option for people 65 and older, I believe. Can you tell people what your advice would be in terms of trying to get an appointment and give us maybe a little bit of a glimpse of what that program will look like?
So this program came about exactly because of what you just said, right? State of Texas had expanded the eligibility to include now everybody 16 and older. And based on the data, vaccination data that we have currently, we still have a significant proportion of vulnerable population, especially those 65 years and older that are yet to be fully vaccinated. So the proposed registry is one strategy to prioritize this population that is at highest risk for COVID-19 infections, hospitalizations, and death. So this pilot program is only intended for those 65s and older at this time. Residents can provide their information and be placed in this registry either by calling 311 or by going online themselves and providing this information. And they will be notified once the appointments become available at any of the 4 vaccine hubs we have in our community. So we have those 4 big vaccine hubs, which is one at the Alamo Dome, one at the Wonderland, on the south side run by WellMed, and the hub run by UT Health. So this registrants or folks who have registered at this site will be notified when appointments become available at any of these mass vaccination hub sites.
Do you anticipate, I know that you mentioned the 4 major hubs where people are getting these vaccines. We also know CVS and Walgreens giving out some of these vaccines. Are you getting any indication that we may see more vaccine supply coming to meet the demand that there certainly is in this community?
I am cautiously optimistic. I am seeing the allocations increase. Though not at the rate that we like, but they're surely increasing slowly. So I do expect to see vaccines being widely available in these retail pharmacy chains, as well as in your doctor's office in the coming months, pretty soon.
It's encouraging to see that the demand is so high in our community. We just have to get the supply to meet up with that. So, Dr. Anita Kurian, thanks so much for your time. As always, we appreciate you sharing some information with us.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Have a great weekend. We'll be right back. The economy is starting to take a positive turn. More than 900,000 jobs added in March. This is according to the Labor Department. President Joe Biden spoke about the report today. He says it's a step in the right direction.
It means the first 2 months of our administration has seen more new jobs created than the first 2 months in any administration in history. But we still have a long way to go to get our economy back on track after the worst economic and job crisis in nearly a century.
Here's a breakdown of some of the industries with the most jobs gained. 280,000 new hires added to the leisure and hospitality industry. This most likely due to bars and restaurants reopening. 190,000 new hires in education. The unemployment rate now sits at 6%. That's still 2.5 points higher than pre-pandemic levels in February of last year. The week of testimony at the Derek Chauvin murder trial ending today. One of the last to take the stand, the longest serving and most senior member of the Minneapolis Police Department. He says Derek Chauvin went against training in the arrest of George Floyd.
Pulling him down to the ground, face down, and putting your knee on the neck for that amount of time is just uncalled for.
The prosecutor also asked what level of force was used during the arrest. Lieutenant Zimmerman responded with deadly force. Court adjourned early today for the holiday weekend. They will be back in session on Monday morning.
The number of unaccompanied minors crossing the border set a new record last month. Border Patrol is reporting more than 18,000 children crossing. That number is added to the nearly 172,000 migrants crossing in total. The White House says those numbers will eventually come down and that providing aid to the countries they are fleeing is the best way to help curb the flow. Back here at home, look outside with live cam, 73 degrees. Beautiful picture. We've really had something nice to look at all day.
Yeah, beautiful day.
It's setting up to be a very nice sunset, too, just to cap off another beautiful day. Kind of like what we had last night, but I think it's going to be a little more colorful this evening, a better sunset. 73 degrees right now. By 8 o'clock, down in the mid-60s, 10 o'clock, near 60 degrees, and then we'll fall through the 50s after midnight. So overall, a pretty comfortable evening. Bit of a breeze, though. It's out of the east-southeast at 14 miles per hour. The clouds are going to be teasing us a bit this weekend. We'll have an upper disturbance, talk about some periodic dampness and a little bit of rain here and there coming right up.
We have some late breaking news right now. San Antonio police investigating a crash at the intersection of Fresno Street and Angeles Drive on the northwest side. What we know so far is one person here was taken to the hospital.
Yeah, police tell us a white car that you see there traveling northbound on Angeles Drive ran a stop sign, collided with the silver car you also saw in this video. Police say the driver of the white car ran away. However, a passenger was still inside the vehicle. They were taken into custody.
The driver of the silver car taken to a hospital for treatment. Their injuries at this time unknown. The search for the driver of the white car still ongoing. We'll continue to follow this breaking news story. One crazy start to the school day after a school bus full of kids got up close and personal with a deer. That deer came crashing into the bus windshield. You can see in the video thrashed around for a few tense moments. One student was dozing off on the morning ride when all this happened. Surely woke up after that. The driver quickly stopped the bus and opened the doors to let the panicked animal out.
Yeah, a witness who saw the entire incident also saw the deer run off and says the deer appeared to be okay. Yeah.
Scary.
An 8th grader in Colorado made a prehistoric discovery while out on a hike. A dinosaur tooth. Jonathan Charpentier knew he found something special, emailed the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. The museum curator says not only was it a dinosaur tooth, but a T-Rex tooth.
Oh, that is a claim to fame in 8th grade. The tooth will stay at the museum with a note crediting Jonathan along with any other discoveries that it leads to. That's pretty cool. Take a look at this sweet discovery. A 121-year-old uneaten batch of royal chocolate recently found in the UK. The treat, commissioned by Queen Victoria in 1900 as a morale booster for soldiers at war. It was found inside of a helmet case belonging to the 8th Baronet, Henry Edward Baston Bedingfield.
The curators suggest he may have kept it as a memento, or maybe he just wasn't a big fan of chocolate.
Who's not a fan of chocolate?
Yeah. Sir Edward,
Somebody.
Whatever his name is. Yeah. All right, it's peanut butter jelly time and National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day, the childhood favorite that, let's be honest, still just as satisfying when you're an adult. Comfort food at its easiest and perhaps its stickiest. They are even popular in space. Did you know the average American will have eaten more than 2,000 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches by the time they graduate from high school?
That makes all the sense in the world from this big peanut butter fan. The first reference to peanut butter and jelly on bread popped up in 1901.
I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich just this week.
Oh, you did?
Adam Caskey. If I would have known the day today was, I would have saved it.
Yeah, you would have chosen to celebrate.
It's a Caskey staple, especially Fridays in Lent.
There you go.
Yeah, that's perfect.
When you're a kid and you'd make them yourself and you have a friend over, you'd get like the quadruple stack. Did you ever do that, right?
It just comes out the bottom of the sandwich.
I don't remember ever doing that.
Yeah, like you do both sides
good.
And you keep just stacking and stacking. You make a big old one. Oh, that's the way to do it. You're welcome, everybody. Kids, you're especially welcome. All right, upper disturbance this weekend will tease us a little bit. We'll have a little bit of dampness from time to time, but it's going to remain comfortable. Temperatures will be nice and steady through the weekend. Next week, that's a different story. So let's jump into all of it, starting with our overall weather pattern. We had a decent amount of cloud cover west of 281 earlier this morning. But then we broke out into sunshine. We still have some lingering clouds. It'll give us a decent sunset, but the clouds you see across Texas really aren't doing anything for us. They're not doing us any favors. We need the rain, and unfortunately, they're just not dropping any rain. You go to Arizona and New Mexico, that's where we have a little bit of shower activity right now. There's a little bit of a swirl there in the upper levels, and really the only swirl across the nation right now. This is a little weak disturbance. It's one we've been talking about for a couple of days. Currently, it's over Phoenix. It's stirring things up a little bit of precipitation here and there. That's the one that's going to be moving in over the weekend. It's going to be slow moving, and it's not going to have a lot to work with. Unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of moisture in place, and we don't have the parameters that this needs to really generate a good amount of rain and to put a dent in our drought. So overall, we're going to have a decent amount of cloud cover from this system, but those clouds will just be teasing us as it'll look like it could rain at any moment, but we're probably not going to see a whole lot. So here's our futurecast, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Low clouds, little bit of dampness. So a few sprinkles here and there, a few spotty, light, brief showers. That'll be the case through midday, noon, and then we get to the afternoon, and I do think we'll even see the clouds break up a little bit. So partial sunshine or peaks of sunshine into the afternoon. Then Easter Sunday, we just do it all over again. But I do want to add a little bit of drizzle to Sunday morning. So I do think Sunday morning will have that damp feel to it and a little bit of dampness on the ground and the grass, but not soggy and squishy, just a little bit of dampness and a few sprinkles, light showers here and there. But we're only looking at a few hundredths of an inch in terms of accumulation. So the clouds teasing us, upper system teasing us, not putting a dent in our drought. 73 right now, comfortable. What a great evening. 36, the dew point. These are the days, and especially the Friday evenings, we need to take advantage of here in South Texas because we know they're numbered and they're limited. Get outside, have dinner outside, chat with the neighbors outside. It's beautiful weather out there. Dew points across the board in the low to mid 40s. That's going to change next week. So this weekend still comfortable, lack of mugginess. By Tuesday, that's the day you'll notice the stickiness back in the air, and it's going to last for several days. And it's that time of year. Once that humidity returns, it tends to hang around a little bit longer than, say, previous weeks and months. Temperature-wise, 75 Castroville, Canyon Lake down to 68, along with Bernie, Bandera now at 69. You go to Del Rio at 78 and Cotulla right now at 79 degrees. Overall comfortable this evening. Like I said before, nothing to worry about. Pleasant. We'll fall through the 60s and then drop down into the 50s by tomorrow morning. Lower 50s for most of us at sunrise on your Saturday. With that, the low-grade clouds, a few sprinkles, a little bit of spotty dampness from time to time with that sprinkle action. And then a little bit of sunshine into the afternoon right near 70 and a southeasterly breeze at 10 to 15. Sunday, pretty much the same, just a little extra drizzle, we think, Sunday morning. High temperatures right around 70. It wouldn't surprise me if we make it into the 70s, particularly Sunday afternoon with a few sunny breaks later on in the day. But by next week, Monday, back to the 80-degree mark. And then if you've been waiting for 90, Wednesday, that's your day. By the middle of next week.
Been waiting for 90.
There are folks out there. I know there are. Okay. Right. Not as many as people who've been loving these days, but I'm just trying to appeal to those folks. We'll be there middle of next week. That's your time to shine.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
In case you missed it, coming up next.
All right, taking a look at our weather forecast here this weekend. We'll be in the 50s in the mornings, afternoons right near 70 degrees. A few stray sprinkles periodically, and then we get into next week and we see those temperatures climb again. We'll be back to the 90-degree mark as we get toward Wednesday. All right, let's go to In Case You Missed It.
And good Friday morning to you. It is April 2nd. Glad you're with us.
Yes, thanks for joining us this morning and hope you're looking forward to Easter. San Antonio police say a driver is in custody after a hit and run crash. They say a man and woman were riding a motorcycle and were rear-ended by a driver in a pickup truck. All three pulled over on the side of the highway, but a third driver in a car crashed into them. The driver of the car and the two people on the motorcycle were taken to BAMC and they're expected to be okay. Meanwhile, the truck driver drove off, but police found him at a nearby gas station.
A deadly incident at the nation's capital when a vehicle rammed into a barricade toward two Capitol police officers. In a statement, Capitol Police saying both officers have been transported to the hospital.
And it is with a very, very heavy heart that I announce
one of our officers has succumbed to his injuries.
I have a case of road rage leading to shots fired through a driver's window. The victim told officers he honked at another driver who was driving erratically on the highway and almost caused an accident. He says shortly after he heard that, his driver's window shattered. The victim pulled over on Babcock Road, called police. It's unclear whether that suspect is in custody yet.
The CDC now says people who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19 can travel with low risk to themselves with precautions like mask wearing. Within the U.S., those passengers can travel without taking a COVID-19 test or quarantining after their trip. The agency discourages unvaccinated Americans from traveling, but says those who must should get tested 1 to 3 days before their trip and again 3 to 5 days after.
A reminder, it is Easter weekend, and while parks in Bexar County and San Antonio will be open, camping is not allowed. Park trails, linear parks, greenways accessible for walking, running, biking. Pavilion rentals aren't available, but you can use picnic tables and open spaces, and officers will be patrolling.
Have a safe weekend. See you on the next.